Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Gandhinagar Lodge, I welcome you all to our Thursday evening study class with Professor Shinde ji. Before beginning, I request Sushma ji to give us the universal invocation.
Okay, now I am invoking universal prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Sushma ji. So now I'll share
Okay.
today's PPT. So today we continue with our first fragments, last part, last 18 parts. So yes, welcome Shinde ji. Please start.
Thank you very much, Vimal ji and Sushma ji, for the beginning of this study class now. And I am grateful to the Gandhinagar Lodge members for giving me this opportunity. We are continuously studying this first fragment, and we have come to the end of the first fragment, which is titled as the voice of the silence. Only the first fragment is titled as the voice of the silence, whereas second fragment is the two paths, third fragment is this seven portals. So this end of the voice of the silence, first fragment, each fragment has 100 verses, and we have finished up to 85, and then last portion we are considering today. But it is always better when in the study class we must remind what we have studied. When the voice of the silence, one has to become the path itself. In the beginning only the HPB reminds us, if you are studying voice of the silence, you must become the path itself. So this is very important statement. And we all who are the learners of the voice of the silence must know these 7 points which I want to tell today. Point number 1, voice of the silence says, mind is the slayer of the real, and therefore we need not only to control the mind, but in due course we must be able to transcend it so that it can become our servant and not the master. That is the first point we must remember. Second point, still we need to pass through 3 halls. Even if our lower mind has become our servant, but still we have to pass through the 3 halls. That is hall of ignorance, hall of learning, and finally to hall of wisdom. And we are not passing. It is the soul's journey. And soul learns. Whole humanity is one consciousness, and this human consciousness passing through these 3 halls. We have passed the hall of ignorance, we have good due course, in the course of evolution, we will go into the hall of wisdom. This is the pilgrimage journey. So to rise from physical to astral, to mental, to spiritual or divine plane is the third point we must remember. How we can rise using our lunar body? We must rise in our emotional dealings. That means we must develop devotion, bhakti. So in this, our lunar body helps. Then using the solar body, which is the body of noble thoughts, we can reach to always having contemplation on the noble thoughts, and then we use the higher self, that is our star body. See, here these terms are used: lunar body, solar body, and star body, which means emotional body, mental body, and higher self body, that is the star body. It is only then we can extend our silver cord and move freely in the subtler world. Thus, the fourth point we must remember, we can rise above. There is possibility of rising above. There is possibility of shining. O hidden light shining in every creature. That is what unabased statement. Because it is our true nature. Human true nature is to rise above, is to shine. It is only we are able to reach, then only we are able to reach a stage. What Voice of the Silence uses the word walker in the sky. So for that, the Voice of the Silence speaks or advises us that rose must become the bud, or one must attain the child state. And finally, seventh point we must remember, that is, we must become a golden tree. Golden tree represents the enlightened man, so that whatever seven jewels are kept in this golden tree, they begin to radiate, and these seven jewels are the seven chakras. And this is the journey which is described in the Voice of the Silence. And that is what I want to put before you before we start this. All this must happen. Again, Voice of the Silence says, all this must happen before the trunk of the tree is withered by storm. Here, storm means one manvantra. So, all this must happen, that we must reach to the enlightened state, golden tree. Our tree must become a golden tree with radiating seven jewels in it. All this must happen before the stem withered in the storm. Storm is the manvantra. Before this manvantra, it should happen. And for that purpose, Theosophical Society is founded, and all the masters of the wisdom are taken this responsibility to bring the whole human consciousness to this state, and they are helping us in the evolution of the humanity. So our efforts are towards this as a member of the Theosophical Society. So what I think and what is possible, this what is said is definitely possible when everything is peaceful in our life, when the conflict becomes our doorway, when our silence becomes our honesty, and when our attraction becomes a devotion. So the secret is emotional safety, spiritual humility, and radical honesty. So when he has ceased to hear many, he may discern to one. These are the terms used in Voice of the Silence. He discerned to one the inner sound which kills the outer. That killing outer is not destruction. It is the end of the deceiving oneself. That is what we are doing. We are deceiving ourselves and therefore taking birth after birth, but not changing anything morally and spiritually. So today we are dealing with verses 85 to 100. Therefore, I gave this introduction. It is very important for the serious theosophical student. Well, it is not said by the H.P. Blavatsky, this Voice of the Silence. It is very old traditional teaching. And I must also refer, Krishnamurti also spoke about this, saying that when Voice of the Silence says to become the path itself, but Krishnamurti immediately says there is no path. You must first become freedom from the known. How? By understanding the suffering. How understanding the suffering? By direct perception of the what you see. This is all he has explained in the awakening of intelligence. And further, in the first and the last freedom, he says, wisdom comes into being through understanding the suffering. So same thing, what Buddha taught, same thing is said by Krishnamurti. And in this Voice of the Silence, most of the things are referring to the Buddha's four truths and eightfold path. So with this introduction, we'll go further. I am giving this introduction because we are ending this first fragment. And this session, we are including 85 to 100 that leads from three halls, but with different terminology. Again, these three halls are different. What we studied there, hall of ignorance, hall of learning, hall of wisdom. Here, these three halls are referred as the three stages. The first stage is the stage of dharana. They numbered it as the fourth stage. Fourth stage is the stage of dharana. Fifth stage is the stage of dhyana. And sixth stage is the stage of samadhi. After this, there is seventh stage. This is what we say. What is this first stage? In this first stage, it is like hall of ignorance, means where we follow the path, but yet we have not become the path itself. Means we are doing puja, archa, mantra, whatever discipline, whatever rituals we are doing, that is all included in this first hall. And the ultimate result of this first hall is dharana. Then, when we enter into the second hall of learning, then here in this, we become to think rightly, giving right direction to the thought. Still, we are in the state of thinking process. So, in Hindu tradition, this stage is called savichara. And from this savichara, we are passing to the third stage, that is samadhi, that is nirvichara. So listen carefully and seriously. Unless one listens to these aphorisms, you cannot comprehend the meaning of what H.P. Blavatsky wanted to give to the world through these verses. Because she was the student of the occult brotherhood and she was asked to by heart these verses and she did it. And she then, with the permission of the masters, she has disclosed to the whole world. So what thoughts to think is, Great slayer is our mind, and great master is our higher self. Great law is becoming knower of all self, and great heresy is separateness of soul, and great bird is the bird of life on which we must ride and take a jump, and we must be careful about the great tempter, which this voice of the silence, or in Buddhism, named it as the Mara, king of temperer. And then we can reach to the seventh stage, golden tree, which is the enlightened one with seven jewels. This is what I want to give introduction first, because these verses, as I said in the beginning, we are passing to the dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. These are the three steps which are taken in these, and how we can relate what we have studied traditionally in our Hindu tradition. So once we comprehend this, then perhaps we can really appreciate the teaching even in the voice of the silence. So this verse starts with the when the disciple sees and hears, and when he smells and tastes, how eyes closed, ears shut, with mouth and nostrils stopped, when the four senses blend and ready to pass into the fifth, that of the inner touch, then into stage the fourth, he has passed on. Again, here stages are stated. What these stages? Maybe like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, these are the stages, are the here they are not used the states, but stages. So the fourth stage we will reach. How they have explained very well. So this, how we can relate this? Why I am telling this? Because when the voice of the silence, H.P. Blavatsky disclosed, this is the last gift to the world. And actually this was studied in the Western European countries. And then those people, they came to India to know the meaning of this. And it is the Tukaram Tatya, who was in Bombay. When he studied the voice of the silence, he found this is all said in our Yoga Sutras. And he is the first man to translate the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, into English. Because what has come back, our teaching from the above again to us, and he received it. So important is the voice of the silence. Even in Jnaneshwari, H.P. Blavatsky mentioned Jnaneshwari was a great yogi, Raj Yogi. So Raj Yogi is not a Mahatma, but that she explains further. Raj Yogi is a last stage when he becomes the Mahatma afterwards. So when the disciple sees and hears, and when he smells and tastes, eyes closed, ears set with mouth and nostrils stopped, when the four senses blend and ready are to pass into the fifth, that of the inner touch, then into the stage, the fourth, he has passed on. Then in the next verse, I will read that one also. And in the fifth, O slayer of thy thoughts, all these again have to be killed beyond reanimation. Here, beyond reanimation means all this must be stopped beyond our sankalpa and vikalpa. Then in the next stage, that also we read now, and then I will explain. In next 86, withhold thy mind from all external objects, all external sights, withhold internal images, let on thy soul light a dark shadow they should not cast on your soul. Then finally, thou art now in dharana, the sixth stage. See how nicely explained the fourth stage, fifth stage, how we can reach to the fifth stage. So the first stage, second stage, third stage, fifth stage. How can we understand with the Yoga Sutra? We know Yama Niyama, but fourth stage is pranayama. When our breathing becomes silent, then fifth stage is pratyahara, and sixth stage is dharana. So here, sixth stage, thou art now in the dharana, the sixth stage. So if we compare this, the same Yoga Sutras are disclosed here in different way. So in that way, voice of the silence has got its own weightage. Why it is brought again to the world. I am to explain in order to become acquainted with the inner man. So the sixth stage, dharana, is necessary to become in touch with the inner man. So for that purpose, the aspirant must learn to withdraw into himself and give his whole attention to the voice which he learns from the inner voice. The following may be his interest. Last time I told this, what must be inner meaning of the senses? How we can understand the inner meaning of the senses? That means our sight must become soul's intellectual perception. This is what last time I told. Sight must become soul's intellectual perception. So we must use our intellect and get convinced yourself first. And then only you can be a person who is fully convinced. So sight becomes soul's intellectual perception. Hearing becomes soul's intuitive perception. Then what you hear, if you are listening to Krishnamurti, if you are listening to Buddha, if you are listening to H.P. Blavatsky, if you are reading the voice of the silence, so whatever you are listening is different from hearing. Listening is through this consciousness. So the hearing becomes soul's intuitive perception that goes deeper into your soul. Then your taste also a state in which man begins to know something of this inner state, because you will taste without putting in your mouth. That means even by smell, you immediately know what kind of taste it is. So this taste also a stage begins to know something of this inner state. And then is the touch. You are in touch with the inner state or inner condition. When he comes to this touch of inner state, then it is said, when a man knows, he becomes the law. These are the terms used in this. And we must remember this. When you begin to see, closing your eyes, when you begin to hear, closing your ears, when you begin to smell, closing your nose, and when you begin to taste, not putting in the mouth, when all these four outer senses, like eye, ear, nose, and tongue, are not used, but still you become a perceiver, means what it means? It means you have touched the fifth sense of perception. So this is the fifth sense. This is the fifth stage. This is the dharana. You have entered into that fifth stage because you are able to become to the sixth stage now. Otherwise, you will still in the fourth state of perception. You may use as the fifth dimension or fourth dimension. So the 85 speaks about the fifth stage, which includes no sankalpa, no vikalpa, and beyond reanimation. These terms are used in this. So when we understand this, what we must remember again, 7 points are very well explained in the Mandukya Upanishad. Final teaching explains you must go beyond Om. That is, we know AUM. A is the waking, Jagrut state, which is the outer world of senses. U is the dream, Sapnavastha, inner world of mind. And Ma is the deep sleep, Sushupti. It is a rest, no ego in this sense. And then the Turyava, fourth stage, pure awareness, silence, Turya. So this is what Mandukya Upanishad's final teaching explains what is beyond Om. So here again, we must remind ourselves to silence the mind, to purify the heart, try to become introvert and begin self-dialogue and begin to serve without any expectation, work for the work's sake. We must also begin to question the illusions and delusions so that we can pave our way to reality. Then finally, we must surrender to the divine. This is the way in the seventh stage merge into oneness and going beyond finite mind. That means, number one, when dharana is reached and mind ceases to function in relation to the things of the external world, when we have closed it out and enter into our own secret chamber, then the seventh sense can be reached. This is the spiritual law. It is once your efforts are definitely along with the law. This is the spiritual law, higher laws of life. So as men progress in their evolutionary pilgrimage, their intuitive capacity increases and they really rely less and less upon the lower mind or finite mind for assistance, because they begin to receive instruction directly from the source. This is what happening to Annie Besant. She was receiving instruction directly from the source. That is, source is from the ourself. So the next, this is very important. Therefore, I took so much explanation for this. Then we'll go to the next 88. 88. 88 we read first and then we'll explain that. See, 88 says, it makes us a Kritartha Purusha. 88 is very nice. It makes us a Kritartha Purusha. When we have reached to that stage, you become a Kritartha. That life becomes something meaningful. That means observer, observed, and object all become one. You become that three. This is what this 88 explains. When thou hast passed into the seventh, O happy one, thou shalt perceive no more the sacred three, thou shalt have become that three thyself. Thyself and mind, like twins upon a line. The star which is thy goal burns over your head. The three that dwells in glory and in bliss ineffable, now in the world of Maya, have lost their names. They have become one star, the fire that burns but scorches not, that fire which is the upadhi of the flame. Very interesting poetic words they are used. Go with each word and you will find the meaningful. What is flame? Upadhi of the flame. So that light becomes, or that star becomes the upadhi of flame. In next fragments it is said, even what is flame cannot be, is not answered by the science. Flame is flame. It is not defined in science. It is said you have entered the flame but cannot touch it. So one more thing we must understand, sacred three. Thou shalt perceive no more the sacred three. What are the sacred three? And this is very well explained in Buddhism. Three refuges of five precepts and eightfold path. One needs to study to understand Four Noble Truths referred in the Voice of the Silence in the next 80, 95, 96 and 97. But before that, we must have studied about these Buddhist, Buddhists take three refuges in Buddha. That is, first refuge in Buddha, second in Dhamma, and third in Sangha. And they also accept five precepts, like I undertake these five rules of training: harmlessness, not to take what is not given, purification of body, speech, and mind. That is what we used to study, five precepts. Even our co-founders, HPB and Colonel Alcott, went to Sri Lanka, and where they accepted these five precepts: not to kill, not to steal, not to take what is not given, not to toxify our body, not to lie, and not to do any sexual misconduct. These are the five precepts Buddhists used to take. I am concerned with this word, sacred three. See, this sacred three is the threefold jewel. When man becomes enlightened, this threefold jewel starts burning. That is the sign of those who have accepted the three refuges and who do their best to keep the precepts. And this is what the result we see. In the next slide, I want to explain, this is not mere intellectual understanding, but now in modern anatomy, we will understand how we can reach to this. The Voice of the Silence speaks about the ladder, and each ladder step is the suffering, pain. We must endure that one, and then we must climb. So this is the Jacob's ladder, the internal anatomy of the enlightenment. This is modern science teaches us. Heaven is the higher mind. The top of the ladder represents the brain, specifically the pineal gland. Then below it, there is the Christ oil. Again, we know cerebrospinal fluid, Christ oil, transmuting matter to spirit, passing the Christ oil through the 33 vertebrae We have human backbone has 33 vertebrae. Backbone is the rod of power. So it has 33 vertebrae, symbolizing sacrificing the flesh nature for divinity. When flesh and blood become the light, so it is what it is mentioned here, Christ oil. Then the 33 steps of transformation. 33 vertebrae are the 33 steps of the transformation. Even in Masonic, there is the highest degree is the 33rd degree. I am curious, when we climb to our shrine room, we have 33 steps there. So 33 steps of transformation. Consciousness must rise through the 33 vertebrae of the spine to reach the higher mind. Then the grounding, the ground and the rock. The ground represents lower consciousness, while the rock, Jacob rests on that rock, symbolizes the sacrum bone. You know that sacrum bone, last bone, is the sacrum bone of the vertebrae. Then angels has who are the angels? We are saying fairies, etc. The angels has neural impulses. We know afferent impulse, efferent impulse they are bringing to brain, and impulse they are carrying impulses from the brain. So these are the angels, neural impulses. Ascending and descending angels symbolize electrical signals and sensory feedback loops within the nervous system. So what modern science is studying, if we relate this study along with this voice of the silence, then we understand the depth of the voice of the silence. They were not having this knowledge that time, but still that knowledge is given to the humanity. We'll go to the next now. Again, we have to remember just reminding our eightfold path explained in simple way. To have right view means notice how all things change. Nothing is permanent. That must need to be noticed by the soul. Right intention means right discrimination, choose kindness and compassion. Right speech means we must be truthful always in speaking. Right action means do what helps and don't do harm. Means the first step is don't do it. Then right effort means be diligent in your practice. Right mindfulness means pay attention to what is happening, that is, to be in the present state. And right concentration means meditate for clarity and concentration. Again, it is up to the dharana, the eightfold path. It is, and the practice is returning to these steps again and again. So all these right view, right intention, right speech, it is not one ending. You must repeat again and again in your life and check it. So this is what these verses explained. In the next verses, Voice of the Silence speaks about the goal. Up to this, you become an enlightened man, and after this, try to know the goal or purpose of the life. So in this, you go after the senses and stages, you come to the goal. And what is the goal? Tasmat yogi bhava. That is what our traditional teaching says. The goal of life is to become a yogi. And in that sense, Jnaneshwar was a yogi, HPB described. That is true. he's reached to that stage, and he could come to know what is the goal of life, and he could understand it at the age of 16 only. So Jnaneshwari, what he has done commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, is really a commentary of a yogi. So now 89 says, and this, O yogi of success, is what men call dhyana, the right precursor of samadhi. Where is the individuality? Where is that individuality? Lanu. Lanu means brother. Where is the individuality, Lanu? Where the Lanu himself? So where is the individuality and where you are himself? It is the spark lost in the fire. It is the drop within the ocean. The ever-present ray becomes the all and the eternal radiance. Where is the individual? See, ask the question. And in next 91, and now Lanu, thou art the doer and the witness, the radiator and the radiation, light in the sound and the sound in the light. So all these verses seems to be poetic, and it gives very good sound in our ears. But here explanation is necessary. I will give the explanation, but the words here, and now Lanu, thou art the doer and the witnesser. So तू ही करता है और तू ही साक्षी है, तू ही प्रकाश है, तू ही प्रकाशक है. So radiator is prakashak and radiation is prakash. Doer is karta and witnessing is sakshi. Light in the sound is the word. So light in the sound and the sound in the light. Again, very typical words. Light in the sound and the sound in the light. Here I remember there was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So here again, the God and word and sound, everything is light. So what esoteric insight one must get is, that is what I want to comment on this, because as a serious member, we must know, passing from dharana, concentration stage, to meditation stage, that dhyana, the aspirant must enter the buddhic consciousness. And this state is then thyself. The lower mind, manasa, has been silenced. This state is then thyself. You are that one. Because your lower mind has been silenced, means lower mind is transcended. So mind is the slayer of the real. Slay the slayer. So the yogi has slayed the slayer. Mind, manasa, has been silenced. And this manasa principle has been raised to the plane of buddhi. It is to, now the two are like twins upon a line, the star which burns overhead. So again, these two are twins upon line, means lower mind and buddhi, manasa principle and buddhi principle, they become one. And which burns overhead is the star of initiation. The three on one. When the initiator is invoked, then the star shines forth. This is what we usually invoke. When the initiator is invoked, then the stars shine forth. So we must reach to that initiation. We must reach to the star of initiation when we become the 3 on 1. So as explained in the footnote of the Voice of the Silence, dhyana is the last stage before the final on this earth. Again, the humanity cannot reach to the dhyana stage before the final on this earth unless the candidate becomes a full Mahatma, the Raj Yogi. The author says, is yet spiritually conscious of the workings. So this is what in footnote says. He is conscious of his working of his higher principles. But one step more and he will be merged into the one. This is samadhi. That state in which the yogi loses complete consciousness of every individuality, including his own, because he has become the all. So as a man begins to realize that the personality is merely I, and raises his center of consciousness to higher self, there comes a time when he discovers as a fact of experience that that consciousness is you. I becomes you. The Arundel has written a book titled You. So here, I becomes you. I becomes you, not I. It is your higher self who trains lower self to serve his needs. Then in the 94, what is 90? Next, thou art acquainted with the 5 impediments. Thou art acquainted with the 5 impediments. O blessed one, thou art their conqueror, the master of the 6th, the deliverer of the 4 modes of truth. The light that falls upon them shines from thyself. O thou who was disciple, but art teacher now, and of these modes of truth. You are not disciple now, you are a teacher, because you have acquainted with the 5 impediments, and you are a blessed one. You are the conqueror. You are the master of the 6th. You are deliverer of 4 noble truths. Modes of truth means 4 noble truths. This refers to the Buddhistic Eightfold Path and great truths. Then the light that falls upon them shines from thyself. O thou who was disciple, but are teacher now. You are not remained disciple, you are a teacher now. You are blessed to advise and of these modes of truth. So here we must remember as a student, these 5 impediments are the 5 kleshas in Yoga Sutra. Avidya, Asmita, Ragadvesha, Abhinimesha. Avidya is ignorance. Asmita is mamatva or ego. Raga is attraction. Dvesha is repulsion. And Abhinimesha is clinging. We cling to the life. So what we have to remember? 4 modes of truth. Then next verses, they are very nice. From 95 to 98, these verses, we take next 95 to 98, very nice verses. So 95 says, hast thou not passed through the knowledge of all misery? That is the first truth. Have you not passed through knowledge of all misery? That is the first truth. What knowledge? World is full of sorrow, world is full of misery. You have that true knowledge, and that is the first truth. Have you not conquered the Mara's king at the portal of assembling? That is the second truth. That means you have passed through all the misery, conquering Mara, and found the cause of truth. That is the second truth. Then have you not done any sin at the third gate, but destroyed? Therefore, that is the third truth you have attained. Destroying the sin, have not found the way of truth. Have you not found the way of truth? Then, have you not thou entered Tao, the path that leads to knowledge, the fourth truth, entered the me? So here, what I want to explain is 4 modes of truth. First truth, it asks question. Have you not passed through knowledge of all misery? That is the first truth. Second truth, have you not conquered the king of tempter Mara? Third truth, have you not destroyed sin at the third gate? And fourth truth, have you not entered the path? Then it says, next slide, behold, now rest beneath the Bodhi tree, state of fullness, the object of your search. The voice unbroken that not only resounds through eternities. That is last one. We'll read that afterwards. So next, what I want to tell is, what is this speaks about the samadhi. Samadhi literally means a state of perfect balance, a state of abstraction, a state of non-dependence, and this arises when the mind is in perfect stillness. Otherwise, you know, one is aware of mind. Therefore, mind is the movement of consciousness. When the mind is still, then it is simply awareness. And that awareness, perhaps Krishnamurti wanted to convey us a choiceless awareness, fullness of vision. The 99, and now, numbers are different. Okay. And now rest neath the Bodhi tree, which is perfection of all knowledge, because know thou art the master of samadhi, the state of fullness vision. Yes, the state of fullness. One has to become the path itself. This is what it says. The name Buddha comes from the word Buddha, meaning to awaken, means that signifies the enlightened one. Here again, 5 points. Remember, the ascetic has become one with the all. Second, he has returned from whence he came. Third, he met himself on the path. And fourth, he taught himself on the path. And fifth, he became that path, all a part of himself. This is what Voice of the Silence says. One has to become the path himself. At the end, the ladder you hear the insight. So that projection I have given, the end is the insight. Vimalji, the end is the insight. This I liked very much, because at the end of the ladder, you listen the voice of the silence. And that ladder is our 33 vertebrae and reaching to that pineal gland. All that is there. So at such enlightenment state, all things clear and intelligible. Sound becomes utterance, means it creates form. Whatever he says, that becomes truth. Light becomes formless, and disciple becomes one with the master. The voice unbroken is that divine principle, the logos, that exists from exists from eternity to eternity. The seven sounds in one is the voice of the silence. This is the number 100 verse. Vimalji, number 100 verse you can open. Behold, thou hast become the light, thou hast become the sound, thou art thy master, and thou God. आप ही गुरु है, आप ही ईश्वर है. Thou art thyself the objects of the search, the voice unbroken, akhanda, that resounds throughout eternities, exempted from the change, akshara. From sin, it is also exempted from the sin. The seven sounds in one, that one is anahat shabda, means, as I said, there was a word, the word was with God, and the word was God. This is what in the Bible also it is said. And in our traditional, Om Tat Sat is the mantra. You may ask why this Om Tat Sat is the mantra. So, Om Tat Sat is one of the great truths of the Hindus. As I said, there was word was the God, and the God was the word again. The word was with God, and God was the word. Word was God, like that. So, Om Tat Sat is one of the great truths of the Hindus. The word Aum, pronounced as Om, is used at the beginning and end of every good work or thought, because it is a word of power. It symbolizes divine creation. That means, Tat means that. So, Om Tat Sat is a mantra, that which is the real. So, Om Tat Sat, this is the mantra, and therefore meaning cannot be translated. It is like a statement of innate truth and goodness. This is how it is. This is how it is, voice of the silence. Here we end. And I want to give some homework, as I said last time. I want to, all of you must remind. And these few I have given, don't wait for the opportunity to create it by virtues. Don't wait for the opportunity. Create it by virtues. And virtues he is carrying along with his bag, and one by one he is raising. So efforts never go to waste. You might not always achieve success, but you will always make progress. In the next slide, I have projected butterflies. Many times I have used the butterflies to explain three halls. First you will get and there. So first you are there, then you wish becomes will, then you get where you want to get, and you reach there. So this is 3 halls, 1, 2, 3. That is depicted by the life history of the butterfly. In the next slide, today and tomorrow. Don't lose hope. You never know what tomorrow will bring. So you be hopeful. Don't, when you are on the path, you must become the path itself, means you should not sidetrack from the path. Then the third in this, you have changed a lot. What did you take? That is what two people are sitting, the two caterpillar and butterfly, they are speaking. You have changed a lot. What did you take? And the butterfly replies, decision. So this is very important. Choosing the exact thing, discrimination. So celebrate your life, love more, hope more, live more, be joyful more. Life feels more meaningful when you start to appreciate your blessings. And the last butterfly I have given, don't be ashamed of who you had to be to survive. The caterpillar was never the enemy, it was the beginning of the butterfly. Your past was part of the transformation. So, with this, I would like to give homework. You can do homework in yourself. Nobody is going to check you, but you answer these questions. That last thoughts to think. Have you received that, Bimalji? Thoughts to think? Ah, yes. What role does Mara play in our daily lives? That means again, like steps of the ladder. What role does Mara play in our daily lives? Second question, what is the meaning of golden tree and its jewel buds? Then third, what is the difference between Manvantra and Pralaya? Fourth, what does child state mean? Why is a balanced interplay of activity and contemplation necessary? How is the lower self necessary in helping us to attain enlightenment and journey through the 3 halls? So these are the some of the questions we must discuss and come to the preparation. Always remember, there is a great slayer is the mind, great master is the higher self, great law is becoming knower of all self, great heresy is separation of the soul, great bird is the bird of life, and great tempter is the Mara. So here we end with the voice of the silence fragment first, and I am very happy to giving me this opportunity, and also I am grateful to you all listening carefully. I have taken 3 more minutes more, I think.
It's okay. So thank you so much. It was so wonderful. I
Thank
think
you.
I learned a lot. Yes, yes. Please. Who would like to say anything? Most welcome.
I just wanted to thank him, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Maya Jadhav, okay. Thank you.
The forum is open. Anybody wants to ask any questions or add anything or share what they learned, something new or their thoughts, most welcome. I think I'd just like to share that today, in fact, with great clarity, I understood that Yoga Sutra is very much explained nicely in Voice of Silence. I didn't know this. So
Oh.
today I understood this very clearly and very nice it was. So, People are
Yes, it
writing
is
in the
true.
chat
It is,
box.
Vimalji, it is true. Actually, this teaching is given in the our Hindu tradition, no doubt. Yoga Sutra are our old one, and now
Hmm.
it has become popular all over the world. Otherwise, masters thought everything is destroyed by the European countries. So we must
Hmm.
remind them,
Ah.
and they have given this. Actually, this is given to the those countries, those, and all knowledge is in English. Those who are
Hmm.
good in English, they can understand well theosophy.
Hmm.
Mm. And
Yes.
those who are good in Sanskrit, they can understand Hindu tradition. Again, this
I think
I'll
his
take a minute. Uh, yeah.
I think we have
Uh,
lost. He has lost
on,
his
on behalf
connection.
of the Gandhinagar Lodge and all those who've attended, we'd like to thank Professor Shinde for taking the time to explain to us
difficulty.
the fragment one of the Voice of Silence. You have given to us in much detail and so patiently. Thank you very much, Professor Shinde.
Oh, it is Gita. Thank you, thank you. It is a thankless job, Gita, but I must thank you all.
So you're getting the thanks from all the angels, all the masters who are there. They're all thanking you. You must be feeling it.
Yeah, 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 it is true. It is true.
Anyway, so it was really wonderful. Like Geeta
Thank
said,
you,
it was.
sir. I am very grateful to you. It was
Oh,
very nice explanation.
thank you. And it is nice to deal with the voice of the silence. I am also happy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There are many people who have thanked on the chat box. I will just read out their names. Baswaraja Reddy says, heartful thanks. iPhone, very nice talk, brother. Thank you much. Suresh Kumar Srivastav, thank you, sir. Beautifully explained. Om Prakash Chilal, thank you, sir. It was very encouraging. Jyoti Nagesh, thank you, sir. So, thank you so much, sir, for everybody. I think we can end the session. And I think we really enjoyed these 9 sessions and a very lovely presentation by Shindeji. Each time put a lot of effort to make beautiful slides. Thank you, Suresh Kumar Srivastava for your gratefulness. Arun Chaushetty also thanks
Hmm.
you, sir. So thank you, everybody. Now we'll end. And thank you, sir. We look forward to the next session next week and hope all of you all join us again. So let's all join together in the closing prayer. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamayam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everybody.